Recently on Kevin Thompson's channel, Beyond the Fundamentals, there was a live stream of his FSI group where the topic was stealth Calvinism. And in the live chat, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle involving my use of the word sovereignty. And in particular, the person who seemed to be upset by my using the word sovereignty in response to that person using the word sovereignty was that the word sovereignty and sovereign do not appear anywhere in the King James Bible, and therefore we can't use it. And it's just completely illegitimate for us to use it to talk about God. While it is true that the word sovereign and the word sovereignty do not appear anywhere in the King James version of the Bible, the word potentate does occur. And so let's look at blueletterbible.org. And I'm going to go to 1 Timothy 6:15. And we see right here it uses the word potentate to refer to Jesus Christ. If you're a Trinitarian, then you believe Jesus Christ is God. So the King James does say that God is the only potentate. If we then go to Merriam-Webster.com and type in the word potentate, try to type in the word potentate, you see right away that the definition of the word potentate is ruler or sovereign. So the word sovereign is a precise and exact synonym of the word potentate. So technically, it's true that the King James never says that God is sovereign. It does say he is the only potentate, which is the same as saying he's the only sovereign. And it just so happens that sovereignty is an appropriate word to talk about a potentate. The word sovereignty means freedom from external control, supreme power, especially over a body politic. Of course, supreme power is appropriate and accurate, and that's what a potentate is. A potentate is a supreme power, and a potentate has freedom from external control, and that is what the word sovereignty means. Freedom from external control. But the point I was trying to make that the person involved in this kerfuffle would not even attempt to understand, because I use the word sovereignty, is that God has the power and authority to do whatever he chooses to do. I stand by that. I don't know how any Bible-believing Christian could argue with that. Does God have power? Does God have power? Yes, he does. Does God have authority? Yes, he does. Does he have ultimate, absolute power and authority? Yes, God does. God has the power and authority to do whatever he chooses to do. I don't see any reason why anybody would object to that. Now, in addition to this, I made some other points that I think are really just corollaries of this. Number one, God has the power and authority to cause whatever he chooses to cause. Again, I don't see how anybody could have a problem with that. God has the power and authority to cause whatever he chooses to cause. God has the power and authority to prevent whatever he chooses to prevent. And God has the power and authority to allow whatever he chooses to allow. Things that God chose to allow that are mentioned in the Bible might include Adam and Eve eating the fruit that they were forbidden to eat. Cain killing Abel. We can definitely see in the exchange between Cain and God that God certainly seemed to be attempting to talk Cain out of a particular course of action. Cain decided to kill Abel anyway, so God allowed that. The only real problem with this is this conflicts with Calvinism, which is the whole reason I worded it this way. Calvinism imagines that sovereignty means that God must meticulously control everything and everyone at every moment, right down to the smallest molecule or atom. So in Calvinism, God cannot allow anything. He must cause everything. He must do and cause everything directly. I suppose they might say indirectly, but still the reality is Calvinists do not allow God, or do not accept the possibility that God could allow other beings in his creation to choose what they do or what they don't do. But back to the original point, I don't see how saying this describes God's sovereignty can cause any affront to anybody just because the King James Version of the Bible does not ever use the word sovereignty. As I showed, it does use the word potentate, which means the same thing. Anyway, I think it is now time for me to slowly back away from my computer.